Well, good morning. I better get something in me pretty quickly because I've got a lot to talk about and it's very incoherent. And you're probably going to say, oh my God, that guy's a nutbag. But let's start off with some coffee or tea or whatever beverage you got to get your day started. Luna has decided she doesn't want to hear any of this, but Baloo and Pepper are somewhere around here. So, uh, got some people interested. I think I'm a little off kilter here, so I'm just going to twist this just a little bit. Okay. Well, I twisted a little too much. Oh my gosh. Uh, okay. I think that's a little bit. That's a little better, but I'm a little bit now. I'm a little bit in the perfectionist area. Let me hold on just a second. Okay. There, that's better. Hey, no, that's my seat. Get down. Get down. You get up on your own area. That's my seat. Hey, stop it. That doesn't work. So, as you can tell, my puppies are enjoying fighting. Mm. Anyways, like I said, I hope you have something to get you going. I'm need a little bit more because this topic is not exactly easy topic to talk about. So this week, um, Britain got into the limelight of the world stage because they were having some issues with protesters in Britain who were upset about the amount of migrants that have come into the country over the last few decades. It got very violent. So one of the responses from the British authorities was to threaten people that express themselves online with jail time or imprisonment. Now, uh, I want to say a very naive British person. Don't know much about the history of Britain other than a few games that I've played and the more standard fare movies that have been about British people. So I'm not going to say I understand uh, the nuances about what's going on with that part of the country. So, uh, however, I want to bring up the topic, and I've expressed it before in the past, and I ran into it again today. Not today, a couple of days ago, but this week of the the juggling act of controlling people and what they can do with good intentions. Now, the idea that I'm sure the British government has is that if we just stop people from being able to say ugly things, nobody will do ugly actions. So You say ugly things, will put you in jail. That'll keep the people that were going to do the ugly actions from ever hearing from things that promoted them to go do that. I'm sure that's what the general logic is. However, you get into scenarios where you have to clamp down more and more. Um, and it can have repercussions. And I'll give you an example of what happened with me because mine's very minor and has nothing to do politically or anything like that. But it stopped me from doing the path I did, and I had to change things up. So um, I wanted to produce a image of a girl on a motorcycle and driving down the street. So I was in Leonardo AI, and Leonardo allows you to put in your description. So I put in my prompt, but then they allow the AI, you can click on the button and have the AI recommend improvements to the prompt. And when I did that, I didn't read it. I just had it generated after it was done. And I liked one of the images. So I took the prompt that generated the good image, and I took the image and I took it over to Runway so I could get a motion version of the image that I created. And when I did that, Runway said content blocked because of sensitive or inappropriate uh, requests. And I read through the prompt, and it seemed pretty, like it was like wild and beautiful woman riding a motorcycle down but the one thing was there was one key word. And I looked at that word and I said, is it that? And the word was enticing. And I was like, enticing? And it wasn't a description of her. It was like talking about her, you know, devil may care attitude, enticing uh, the ride. So I deleted that word, resmithed it a little bit so that it made sense because otherwise the sentence. And I ran it again, and it ran fine. My original one also ran fine. So Runway has a very strange clampdown on their content, which is fine. I mean, they're trying to get money and supporters and stuff like that. What they're trying to do is keep people from using it for uh, stuff that might be produced that seems inappropriate. But that's fine. That's fine. However, that going back to the whole thing I started with, it threw me off. But the thing is, that little word, not that bad of a word, not not a slur by any sense, not a bad word as far as uh, in the world of bad words, that's not a very bad word. But they probably have clamped down on those other words, and then they say, well, what about why would we have the word enticing? Uh, I can't think of any good reason why you would want enticing in a description of uh, um, uh, the video So let's just yank it. Not allowed. And that's what happens when you start to clamp down on free speech. You start with where we all agree, like, of what is inappropriate and should be illegal. And then we slowly evolve into things that are somebody's opinion. Somebody else figures out, or somebody else figures that, enticing is not a word that we probably should be using. So it's one thing to do that with a piece of software that is singular. It's very different when the government says you can't use the word enticing. That's when it becomes problematic. So I guess what I'm saying is if government really wants to do this and to lock things down, they're going to have to wait until artificial intelligence can help them. Because the truth of the matter is, the only people that actually want censorship and the removal of freedom of speech are not programmers. They're not people that work with programmers, and they're not people that are getting the coding done. Coders like freedom are a very particular group. You talk about getting really pissed off people when security clamps down on stuff, they get really riled. They find all kinds of back doors and they find all kinds of ways to abuse it. That tends to be where they're at. So my recommendation to the government is if you guys want to control us like that, you might want to keep your mouth zipped until programmers aren't as powerful as they are right now. Because this world is not going to become less free. Uh, I've read the books 1984 and Brave New World. And I don't see either one of those futures happening for us. Maybe Brave New World. Uh, Talk about stuff that they try to entice you to do things. Yeah, if you haven't read the book, it's very interesting. It actually holds up fairly well. I mean, it's not a great book now. It was very interesting when it came out, but there's some nuances that they probably want to change if they republished it or redid it now. But overall, interesting concept. All right, you guys take care and keep the freedom flag flying, no matter what anybody says. Freedom is good, but of course, that's what caused us to leave Britain to begin with. Freedom! Freedom! All right, you gotta take care. We'll talk to you later.